What's up, YouTube fam? It's Dark Angel's Journey. I'm Shatira. Kitty's over here ripping up paper, having a good old time. Oops. Sorry, buddy. There he is, being kitty-tastic. Let me give him back his paper. Anyway, so ICT dropped some gold, like liquid gold, like 2 nights ago in a vid. And I am going to backtest because this will help. Also, I gotta share my paper trading account. I'm back onto 17, y'all. But the one thing that I've realized as I'm journaling, sorry, as I'm journaling and writing, I guess you can't really see, but I've got like pages and pages of it as I'm trading. What just happened? Like the light just went out. It just get dark by it just get dark? Okay, that's weird. Anyway, I'm just gonna soldier on. Got light again. Weird. Anyway, I figured we'd go through and backtest. Alright, that's all we're doing, just backtesting the heck out of everything. I'll share my paper trading account and where it's at right now, and let's get doing. Oh, he's eating. Let's get tiny. Ooh, that's definitely not what I meant to do. I hope that didn't look weird. Tiny. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna use our back testing. So we're just gonna, hey, since I said sharing, the clean charts are starting to feel way better to me. All right, so I'm bound to 17.6, 767. I tried a few trades yesterday, failed. One trade the day before, and then this day really dropped me back. And I'm realizing a pattern as I do this, right? 10:02, 10:06. Like, I don't wait. I don't give myself time to see if my setup actually will play out. But in any case, yeah, that's the situation. Okay. All right, so let's look at what we've been doing here right quick. And I'm going to test everything I'm looking at from well, let's hit the replay button first and just grab some time. I'm just gonna go Stevie Wonder with it. Pew, 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 click. Okay, where do we end up? The 1st of May. Okay, I'm on 25th. Really? 25 days? No, that can't be right. Yeah, May 1st. Whatever. All right, so where are we at right now? Let's look at this on the weekly. Let's get a higher time frame. I don't know why that pops up on the weekly. Let's get a higher time frame reference point. So we know we have a giant volume imbalance right here. That's gonna draw them up into, but I'm just gonna note it's a combo volume imbalance fair value gap. Let's just go with that. And let's just, go weekly. And let's drop that to the right. Okay. So my general expectation is for them to drop into that. So 42, 44, 50 was the original pull, at least the original buy side. I don't think they've made it all the way up there yet, but who knows. On the weekly, and we're gonna use this higher time frame. It's like, so we have these higher time frame stuff. So let's set that as a fair value gap, and let's, yeah, that's fine. Let's make sure and zoom right in, and make sure that we've got thing down to the tick. Good. All right, the other cool things about this that we need to denote, since it is a weekly fair value gap, is I'm just gonna drop the consequent encroachment of that. It's not quite right. It's up a little bit right there. Perfect. And then I'm going to drop this, the quarter point right there and make it a dashed line. And then I'm going to move this down to right there. Kitty is coming to hang out with me now. And drop that right there. Okay, perfect. So now we have 25, 50, 75 at the end of it. Okay, so, and what else we got in this general vicinity? Got this order block right here. I'm gonna use the body. So bullish order block right there. Oh, okay. And we're just gonna weakly on that. So we know what we're looking for. And let's drop down into a daily, see what that transposes into and how they behaved at each level. Okay. So on the daily, this fair value gap has been, I mean, if I'm being honest, on the daily, this looks like it's become balanced, right? We had the BISI going up and they came back down, one pass, and then went back up. Not, so it should be pretty balanced in here. I personally, if they're gonna go properly bearish, they need to take out these lows, like properly, and dip in down here. So right now we're just sort of consolidating in this general vicinity. Oh, and I should have noted, let's see, what's the weekly order block that we're hanging out at? Oh, looks like a rejection block too, while we're at it. So it is a rejection block. So let's look at this guy and let's just note that as a rejection block. Weekly. And let's note consequent encroachment of this candle. CE of that. I know we're putting a lot of lipstick, as ICT would like to say on this. CE, weekly, and then we haven't made it all the way up there yet, so let's go with the CE of the CE. Control Shift, right there, beautiful. Okay, and we're just gonna make that dashed line. Okay. So they've busted through that, but we're still inside that rejection block. All right. Cool. Let's go back to the daily. Look at that. They hung out on the top of it, but still, the wicks do the damage, right? The wicks do the damage. All right, so on the daily, and I'm going to use the daily or the 4-hour fair value gaps. And then let's see how they behave around the other stuff. And there's an order block right here about consequent encroachment of that. I'm curious to see how they behave, so I'm just going to note this this bearish order block right there. Oh, let me take that off. I don't think that's. It's like an old high, actually. So let's plop that in here. Things that I need to be paying attention to. So this is going to be an old high. High on the daily. Let's lighten that up a bit. Let's this old high on the daily. Let's drop that to the bottom. Hey, that's not what I meant. So the center, bottom. Okay. So old high on the daily. And let's dip into the 4 hour. Okay. And so we've been in a big consolidation after still a very bullish run. I gotta work with what I gotta work with, right? So let's see what this looks like on the 4 hour. So they've traded back down into this portion of it already. And for me, sell side's all the way down here. And this is what's left of this. This is where this fair value gap is at. Now there's a high here, which is about consequent encroachment of this fair value gap inside of this bigger one. I am looking for the way the inefficiencies book, right? Maybe not book, but the way I'm looking for the way they set themselves up. So like, for example, this is technically efficient, right? So there's no reason to really come back down into that further down because we had a SIBI here and they traded back up into it. So now it's efficient. So this fair value gap, when I look to the left of it, there's stuff next to it, right? Unlike this one, there's nothing around it. So they can absolutely come all the way back down to this. Personally expecting them to stop at this high, but we'll see. The other thing is like this general price range below this high is relatively balanced, I think. So let's see. Let's go to the 1 hour. Let's see what that looks like. So on the 1 hour, this has been efficiently delivered. Okay, efficiently delivered. So what are they coming back to? So maybe what are they coming back to? So we have no fair value gap in here. I don't know if there's a good reason for them to come back down here. All right, so let's see. So this is a Monday. London took things down, and then New York went up. We're still bullish, but London said no. What time is this? 10 a.m. 4. Okay, so let's dive into this price action right here and see what's up. Let's go down to the 15-minute. Okay, so this is the daily, and I think this is already efficiently delivered, right? So there's a lot of London just sort of dropped the high of the previous session, the low of the previous session, right? So I'm just going to note that. So so they came up and, whoops, and took out the session high right here. Let's check that. So London session high. Okay, and that's the low. So we're bullish, so they decided to come up here. where do they come to, right? What is this? Rejection block, okay, right? The weekly rejection block that we've been hanging out inside of. And on the 15-minute, what do we have? We have a shift here. And on the 15-minute, we had this inefficiency. Now, because the daily fair value gap on the lower time frames has been, handled or traded to, or it's efficient, I should say, on the lower time frames, I'm not going to worry about them coming back in here. What I'm going to do, though, is let's see. Okay, let's take a look at where we are. So this 15-minute inefficiency right here, I mean, they've traded down into it, order block, traded up above it. Other things that I haven't been paying close attention to. Regular trading hours for this day. This is Monday. Oh, did switching that kick me out from my, that's annoying. Why did it do that? That's really, really annoying. I didn't realize that switching. So I'm curious about, so I'm hanging out over here trying to like understand what's going on, right? For that day. First, so let's go back since that messed with me. Okay, and let's get on to the 15-minute again. I'm not trying to like take any trades in this general vicinity. I'm just trying to understand the price action, right? So we rolled up into consequent encroachment. So London, the high of London is what they chose to take out. The low of London, well, they took that out too, honestly. All right, so let's see what's happening closer to 10 o'clock. All right, so we had a shift here, and before that we had sell side taken here, and they didn't take it here, but taken there, and we drove back down into the base of this fair value gap, which acted as support. And then we had a significant shift. Okay, so so significant shift, this has been traded to high hell. So I'm gonna use this 15-minute shift fair value gap instead. Like that. And we'll look at this general time frame. Okay, so 15-minute fair value gap. Let's drop down to a 5-minute and see what's going on here. So we had a shift and low shifted through. So by my estimates, this here is a breaker, bullish breaker, actually. And let's see if we can see it on the 15-minute. Sorry about that. So low shifted through. So technically, this whole thing, let's use the body. That is a breaker, right? So let's drop down to the 5-minute. Let's come up over here. All right, so usually, so I'm looking through this breaker, right? Let's look at these. So we have this bigger fair value gap, right? And we have this one right here. They've traded down into it, tapped it, and then they took off. So for 10 o'clock, if we're being smart about it, right? If we look to the left of this, there's nothing there. The left of this, there's a bunch of stuff around it, right? This fair value gap. So most likely they're probably not going to roll back up too far. So if I'm aiming for, say, the London high, right? And 10 o'clock rolls around and I'm looking for a long position, the general expectation is that I should be taking the long, like, hold on, sorry about that. as I'm looking at this, I should be taking the long somewhere at the top of this thing, this fair value gap. So let's see how that would look like. So at the top of the breaker right there, and I want my stop loss below there, 8 ticks, mainly because I don't think they're going to trade back down into it, right? Because if I look to the left, got all of this to help balance it out, right? Here, I don't have anything much to the left. I'm gonna make sure I'm like looking at this right. I'm watching price. Sorry, I am also like, just look at it. So wait, so, or should I say to the right? Or this is probably where I should have been expecting them. But then let's look at this on like the 1 minute. Okay, let's dip back over here, right? Okay, so even more details on, so we had the fair value gap up here on the 5 minute. Oh, hold on. Come back over here. Why does it run you over? Okay, so we had this fair value gap that's inside, that's just above, and then this one that's just below, right? And let's assume that we're just coming up on 10 o'clock and we've only tapped like this much. We haven't tapped anything next to it. There's nothing next to it. Below here, there's all of this price action. So in my mind, we shouldn't be coming back down, right? So let me note, just so I can see it on the lower time frame. I keep using the same colors. I don't know what that's about. Okay, and let's drop down to 1 minute. Okay, so on the 1 minute, low, 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 shifted through, order block up here. Fair value gap up here around the shift. We know we have this higher time frame breaker, right? And if I were to drop a fib right here, my general aim would be from there to there above the old high, just as a point of target reference. Awesome. So with an entry there, I would have been fine and I would have gotten, multiple opportunities actually. So if the consequent encroachment was, I could also, look to see if the consequent encroachment is a good plan, right? So the initial entry right here is beautiful, right? They shallowly took this in, so it should be considered a balanced price range. And I would have taken a 1.5, so 34 ticks on that one. Or if I'm looking for this high, a couple ticks above that, since, they've already traded up to here, retraced back up and, but it's 10 o'clock, right? So you're looking for a little more, probably. So let's look at the 15 minute, because I wasn't, where'd it go? Okay. So the other thing that's always important is to look to the left, right? Like what's over there? So let's go back to the 1 hour. Right. So, okay. So let's put that right there by side. So we understand what all the draws are for the day, right? Okay. And then let's go back to the 5 minute and take a look again. So with buy side being all the way up here, we took it. Consequent crouch with that wick. It's a good poll London session. So I would have gotten the first run easily. The second run would have been better. So let's like take a look at this and let's look at the highs that are formed, right? So like this high right here, maybe let's do it on 15 minutes, right? Okay, let's do it on 15 minutes and see where the confluences lie. So we have this breaker, the top of the breaker, place where we would enter, right? And then everything's sort of refined based off of how much to the left of this has already been traded to. If I had waited for the order block, specifically the 15-minute order block, let's take a look at this because it came right down to that low. Let's use the top of that. And I'm just going to say it's a bullish order block right there inside the fair value gap. So let's go to the 5-minute and see what that looked like. All right, so if we're waiting, none of these entries would have gotten us where we needed to go. Also, look at that. Discounting all of that right there, is that, what's the high of this? 4188.25 and the low of this is 4186.25. Okay, sorry, I thought I saw a volume imbalance in there, never mind. Okay, so on the 5-minute, we have this bigger fair value gap broken down. So this entry would have gotten us a little something, something, but this entry at the actual order block, the 15-minute order block inside of the breaker, and then, you know what? Let's see. Where is, so I'm looking at consequent encroachment of this whole thing. I'm looking for all these different confluences, right? So the consequent encroachment of this is really close by. These guys decided to dip in here. This entry right here with 8 tick stop loss would have yielded about, what, 34 ticks right there. Not bad. And if I'd gone with the order block inside of the breaker, then 15-minute order block, and then maybe wait for them to just tap the base of this. And then this run would have been better because then that run would have taken us up to this guy. But the entry is outside of the 10 o'clock time frame. All right, let's go back to the, let's go to the 5-minute and let's see what was formed inside of here. We are in the 5-minute. So outside of the 5-minute, this fair value gap formed right at 10 o'clock for an entry, 35 ticks. Did we get something formed? We can delete that for now. Okay, did we get a fair value gap that formed at 10 that would have allowed us an entry? Now this one right here, look to the left, and then trade it up, I should say to the right of it, I should say. Like so. So we still had a little something, something right here. This bottom section, this bottom half that they tapped, the balanced price range right there. So I wouldn't necessarily have expected them to come back over here, but it's also the top of the rejection block too. Interesting. So during the 10 o'clock time frame, the only fair value gap that we can see on the 1-minute is this one, and they traded right down through it. So if we take in that long. The rule is, can it give us, is there enough for it to give us 10 handles, right? So if we took this one and I wanted an 8-tick stop, well, it definitely would have been stopped out for sure. I would have been stopped out a bunch. But let's see with the run up to the consequent encroachment, like a tick or two above it's about 40 ticks. So if that was my goal right there, then it's definitely takeable. The entry down here is preferable though, but that literally came in at 10 and then gave us another opportunity here to enter with another shift. See what that looks like on a 3-minute maybe. I think I'm gonna switch my account so I can see the seconds in here because I feel like it's gonna be in here somewhere. How fascinating, right? Like proper shift. Oh wow, look at that. Something that you don't see unless you toggle through the different time frames. So you gotta check to see what's there, right? So volume imbalance on the 3-minute, right? The bigger order blocks there. This is inside of that bigger order block. Well, hold on. It's 15 minutes. And let me do this. Control. So if I'm noting the higher of that low, oh my God, look at that. So if I take the entire order block into account, let's go to the 5-minute. So I'm over here just analyzing price, y'all. I literally, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to see why it flows the way it flows. All right, this is an okay entry, but this one, right up to the sell side I was expecting, say I'd taken this entry here, I wanted to, because I would want my stop to be below, beautiful, below the breaker. And this offered 80 ticks. Beautiful. Now, if I were to drop a fib on this price leg right here, they also came down to this 0.7 stop. You know, everything, different confluences coming together. So it's optimal trade right here. This would be me waiting for them to take out this sell side 2022 model, right? They took it out here, shifted, dropped back down, one opportunity here, nice. And then, okay, but this entry would be outside of the 10 o'clock time frame. Like this entry would be the one that I would take at 10 o'clock, writing it up to consequent encroachment. But this entry, that formed at 11, that came back down at 11:25. That had a better run. Okay. So let's take a look at what happened in the afternoon, 2 o'clock. So, figure this out. Back up to the 15-minute. And let's delete that. So we've already cleared out the London highs. And so now be thinking about the lows that formed after 12:30. Now, if they take out those lows, then most likely they're going down, right? So let me clean this up. Okay, so let's take a closer look. So now we have this taken out, rejection block created up here. and a shift right here. See if it gives us an opportunity. Does it leave us anything juicy to play with? Tiny, tiny fair value gap right here. So look to the right of this, balanced price range. This section isn't so balanced until you look to the right, and then it's really, really balanced. This all looks very sidewaysy and choppy, so probably wouldn't touch that. This shift right here, though, does it leave us anything? Let's drop down to the 1 minute. Because we're waiting, actually, sorry, no. So we're waiting for the 2 o'clock time frame. So 2 o'clock came, so whatever setup was in here, right? And coming down to this fair value gap down here. If we think about what we're aiming for, 2 o'clock, my personal preference would be the sell side under here and here. Well, actually, yes, let's attack the low of the day. Equal lows right here. So let's plop that in here. So sell sides right there. So with sell side being there and it being close to this fair value gap, I want to see them dip into it. Okay, so we have buy side taken and we have a shift of the short-term low right here. Most likely in the seconds, you'd be able to see a decent fair value gap form. We just have this tiny one right in here, which they violated multiple times. Okay, let's drop down to like a 3 minute here. Let's see. Okay. So on the 3 minute, dang. On the 3 minute after that shift, we have all of this mess right here. All of that mess. It's all very messy, really. Hmm. But if I think about it, let's look at this fair value gap right here. Well, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, see on the 5 minute, actually let's see what this looks like on the 15 minute. So on the 15 minute, hold on a second. Okay, couldn't see that for a hot second. So on the 15 minute, this fair value gap formed. Okay, let's put that back now that we can see it. That fair value gap formed on 15 minutes. Drop to the 5 minute. So this fair value gap on the 5 minute has another one pass through here, and then it drops. Let's look at this on the 1 minute. All right, so so on the 1 minute, pretty much this is a balanced price range, right? Pretty balanced. Now, this little guy got created inside of that. And then, oh, didn't even notice that. So on the 1 minute, this is the first fair value gap that got formed. So if we follow the principle and we're bearish because we've had a shift, whoops. Then should be able, let's see, 8 ticks takes me up to the top of that, which is above this order block, which is good for me. And then what is the range? Like I'm heading for this sell side down here. That's already 72 ticks, right? Beautiful. And it's 83 ticks to get all the way down there. So if we're aiming for sell side and we drop a fib, let's drop it on this guy, that guy. Okay, I don't have enough on that. Let's use the higher time frames to make that assessment. Okay. So if we drop a fib, these relative equal highs up here and this low, and this would be the option closest. 4178.50. What's the low of this candle? 4178.50. Wow. Okay, yeah. So then we could have taken a 48 run. So let's go back in, right? Let's go back in and look at this. So we've had a shift here, here again, here. Right? So the higher time frame shows that we've kind of turned around. The very first fair value gap that forms at the 2 o'clock time frame is this one. And we can go short right there. Right? Stop loss right above there, and we could have run that down. Okay, I dig it. And then just looking at it on the 5 minute, I don't see anything in here, but on the lower time frame we see it. Could we have entered at another spot? Well, so that's the first fair value gap, then nothing, and then this fair value gap would have been the next potential entry right there. Top of that, still would have been above. Nothing, no reason for them to come back up, balance price range, and drop. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's move to another day. And let's go up to the daily. And let's clean this up. Okay. All right, and go. Okay, so let's go grab another day and take a look at click. How far did we get? So Thursday, April 23rd. Okay, so we're inside of this bullish space, so still bullish. Let's go drop down into the 4 hour. Let's do this for the moment. So what do we have? So to the left of this, there was not much. So, yep, rising back. This is to the right of it. So now this is, we had a SIBI. Now we've dipped back up into it and balanced it out. Balanced. Okay. And balanced. What are we aiming for? So we've already taken this out. So maybe some, maybe more of this consequent encroachment. Actually, let's see here. Relative equal highs up here. So let's see. I know they eventually get up there, but I don't know. Okay, so if nothing else, we've tipped into this fair value gap on the higher time frame. Okay, so we're bullish. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, and let's do this and drop down into the 15 minutes because we use that as our options here. So we have another one right up here at 41.98.50. Okay, so let's come over here and let's see. So London. So we've had a significant shift and London has been going up, so expect some kind of continuation unless they tell you otherwise. All right, so let's see. What do we have on the 15-minute time frame? We have this, what I would consider a bullish order block. There's this one, two right there. No real fair value gap in here. So let's just note. Okay, let's note the top of this wick as a bullish order block. And also gonna note, since we do have a giant wick, see how this works right here. So C of that wick, and then let's see where this is. And let's copy that. So let's see about C of the C, okay? All right, let's delete that. Let's delete that, okay. And let's drop down to a 5-minute and see what we have inside of this 10 o'clock time frame. Okay, so we're at this order block. There is a fair value gap right here. But we're inside this order block. It wasn't there on the 15-minute. And if I'm being honest, we have this high right here that's this old high that also is around the other order block right there. Okay, so this fair value gap on the 5-minute forms on the 5-minute. Let me see, it wasn't there on the 15, right? Okay, wait, there's this tiny one on the 15. Let's see what that looks like on the 5-minute. Okay. So they came back and tapped this fair value gap on 15, really tiny. It's more prominent on the 5-minute. When I look to the right of it, there's not much, there wouldn't have been anything, right? So I would have expecting them to come back down into it. But on the 5-minute, we can refine that because between this candle and that candle, we have something they've traded down into this area and then tapped the 15-minute order block and then rolled up. Could that, for a long, just check in here. Let's see, 8 ticks. How much of a run was that? That's not enough. Where would it have been heading? I mean, like my general expectation is for it to continue on up. And let's look at the 1 hour. And we hadn't denoted any gaps and things that we were aiming for. So we have this fair value gap all the way up here, relative equal highs all the way up here. So let's see. So we're there. Let's go with the relative equal highs, the buy side here, and then is this balanced? Not quite. There's still a little bit left of this fair value gap to finish balancing out. Let's note that. Okay. All right, so and then of course we have all of this. So we're going up there. Okay. So this is where we think we're heading. If I was crazy, 220 ticks, man, that's a lot. If I was being more conservative, because we're here, I have this high to take into account, which is not bad. So it's also some, well, this one, because relative equal high is here as well. So note that buy side right there. And there is there's a SIBI right there, right above it. So then I would be potentially, at least, we'll see. Did I mess that up? Okay, let's fix that. So on the 5 minute, okay, that's what that looks like. So let's come back over here. So that's a lot. That's 220. That's a lot of ticks if we were to write out all the way up. Anyway, so let's look at this 10 o'clock time frame, right? Okay, good. 10 o'clock. So let's drop down to 1 minute. Okay, 3 minutes. Can I go down to 2 minutes? Okay, good. I can do 2 minutes. Can't do 1 minute. All right, so on the 2 minutes, at 10 o'clock, we have a beautiful shift, right? And we have this 50-minute fair value gap and that run. Probably would have taken it. Wait, is this also the volume imbalance right there too? So after this consolidation, we had this shift. I have this order block down here. And this is a balanced price range right here. So I shouldn't expect it to come down anywhere, right? So then we had another shift right here, and that left us what? This is the very first volume imbalance right there. Okay, so we have a volume imbalance right there. And then we have on the 2 minutes this order block. So what's the 5 minute order block look like for all of this? Sorry, hang on. So let's continue with the 15-minute order block and then condense that down to 2 minutes. Okay, so we're using the 15-minute order block, and the first fair value gap that formed was this one with this order block. So since this is a continuation, I can't use like a breaker or something, right? And this is the 10 o'clock time frame, so I gotta see what the price run. So let's see, I think from here to here, and look at maybe the optimal entry and see if we have confluences, because we don't have any. I can't see the 1 minute, so I can't tell if there's a fair value gap in here. Optimal price entries here. Could I have at this volume imbalance? Oops. So 8 ticks stopped out. I take it at the volume imbalance. If I waited for them to come back to this order block, 8 ticks works beautifully because it's below this order block right here, and it's below consequent encroachment of the order block, the midpoint. They wicked down, got an entry, and then we would have had to sit through a little bit of that. And then, you know, it would have been 85 ticks to that one section right there. And honestly, like, it's a bullish day, right? Like, it just kept going. So this relative equal highs, that would have been, dang, so for real, that would have been a lot. 2 minutes. See how that would have unfolded. Because inside of here, the first fair value gap that formed entry here, we would have had to have our stop underneath that. I don't think we would have been stopped out. So if the stop is under that order block, that's 16 ticks, we would have got an entry over here somewhere. Or if we'd set it at the 0.7, put it underneath that, and then written it up. Okay. If we're doing the silver bullet. Okay. All right. So then the continuation. All right. Cool. So then we would have been digging into this fair value gap right up here. That would have been the draw for me. So what do we have at 2 o'clock? So the first fair value gap that formed at 2. Oh, sorry, let's go back up to the 5-minute. Okay. So this fair value gap formed at 2. They didn't bother to come back down to it. This next one, they dropped right back down into it. And that right back down. Did they hit the order block? What's the high of that? The high of that is 41.45.75. The low of that is 41.46. So it wouldn't have made that, but the general expectation, I guess, with the continuations, that needs to be below the gap. So that would have qualified for me a nice 8-tick stop right there, and then run for that. We dropped a fib here to here. Right there would have been where I needed to exit. Nice 77-tick run right there. Let's look at that on the 2-minute. Let's look at that on the 2-minute. Right, so we're expecting, so we had these, they didn't bother to come back down. They made, so these are the first ones made. They never made it back down. So it's an evolving silver bullet, as ICT says. So this one evolved. We were able to get in on that one and then took out. And the general question is, can it offer 40 ticks? Yes, most definitely it can offer 40 ticks. The target was quite large. Okay. It's interesting to look at it in, like static like this, but it's, when you're in the moment, it's really hard, you know? And from a continuation perspective, we got back, I need to always remember we need to come back into a discount to go anywhere. So we came back from this price, this part of the price leg, we came back into, we hit the 0.7, and that was inside of the fair value gap, so that's good. And we're off to the races, having a good old time. Right there. Whatever. So nice. That would have been a nice run too. All right, so let's try one where we actually like hit the button and feel the strain and all of that. Okay. That out. All right, let's do this. Let's find another day that we want to play with. Okay. Look at how things are forming up today. Gross. All right, so I took 3 crap trades yesterday, and that was no fun for me. So, well, I got stopped out. That's basically what it is. Let's hit the replay button and just grab one of these. Click. Okay, where did we end up? Uh, I want to get a closer thing so I can get down to the 1 minute. Okay, so let's grab one of these days in May here. This gross consolidation. Let's see if we will get chopped up. All right, so things to note. The high and low. I don't know if I would really think about this candle that much. But I will note this fair value gap right here. And then this high. Let's look at the 4-hour. Let's take that off for a hot second. So we have a daily fair value gap right here on the 4-hour. What does it look like? This fair value gap to the left. So I don't know if I feel like they're going to come all the way back down here. There is this bullish order block that I will note because I can dip in, because it's just that bullish order block, and they could dip into. There is this portion of the fair value gap that hasn't been touched, so there's a potential here. This is relatively balanced, I believe, so I don't think they're going to come back down. I could be wrong. Also, I'm going to note this as buy side for the moment, and this fair value gap on the 4 hours. This is going to be on a premium. Okay, let's drop down to the 1 hour. And let's drop this in here, and let's do this and drop it right there. Okay, so London has been dropping. We're in this daily fair value gap. Let me just put daily on it so I don't forget. Okay, and what's to my left? So within this fair value gap, this portion of it is pretty balanced. And this portion is, there's a potential, since this portion of it is pretty balanced, they may not want to come back in here, and that might be why they're turning around here. I don't know. But it's 9 o'clock. Let's drop down to a 15-minute. And right now we're in a giant consolidation after a big run up. So, all right. So what time is it? 9:45. Okay. What is my bias? Well, London's been dropping, so they just dropped into this fair value gap on the 15-minute. And this bullish order block on the 15-minute. So I'm going to make a. So let's go this way. Oops. And let's say bullish. Oops. Nope. It's a bullish order block right here. So I had a nice shift. And we've come back down to that bullish order block. All right, what are we doing? Let's see what we have on the 5-minute, and this is why I'm in drawdown. All of this chop right here, no good. Okay, so this is on the 5-minute, we have a shift. Yeah, that's looking somewhat bullish. We've taken off all the sell side. Sell side's been taken. Buy side's just been taken here. So let's see. What's the first fair value gap that falls? Can I go down to 1 minute here? Okay, good. Okay, good. So I have this taken. I have a nice shift here, and we have a volume imbalance right there. And let's see what this price leg is doing. And where would I even be going? You know? Something that I didn't do. Let's go back to the daily. I should have noted the just delete that. Um is this what I'm working inside of? Okay. So the previous day's high, yesterday's high, and yesterday's low. Just gotta note that. Okay. And then let's go back down to our 15-minute. And the high of London. So these are relative equal highs. So let's just note like buy side right here because it's close to the London high. And then we have relative equal lows right here. This order block. So 5-minute. And see what we're doing here. So we've been going down. So I feel like, we should, and this is probably a very choppy day. What else do we have in this general vicinity of 15-minute? So on the 15-minute during London, we have this fair value gap that hadn't been balanced. And let's put that on premium right there. That hadn't been balanced. Then a little one right up here. So ICT mentioned something like old lows inside of fair value gaps are, potentially good places. So let's see. The low here is 41.43 and the high here is 41.4275. So it didn't make it to that low. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go back down to our 5-minute. All right. So on the 5-minute, we have this premium right here. Nothing blocking that, nothing blocking that, nothing blocking that. So if we're bearish, because London was bearish and I'm looking for a continuation, unless we get like, some obviously good shift, which we did right here. But let's say we're looking at this bearish order block right there. And maybe we're just looking at the fair value gap. Oh, hello. Hello. Didn't see you there. Volume imbalance. So volume imbalance. Okay. All right. So we've dropped, we consolidated, we took out these guys. We're at a order block from a higher time frame. It's 10 o'clock. We had a shift, but we're also coming in, like this is nodding that we're, looking for potential continuation downward, right? And we've been, we made a big run up, we dropped and took out all of the sell side, all of it. So bias at this point is kind of hard because of all the consolidation. But, if I think about it, right, we broke out of, if this was the consolidation, we just broke out of it here to the downside and then consolidated some more at this point. So what's my bias here? Well, let's see, at 9:30, what happened? So 8:30 opened and we just sort of hung out and then hanging out at yesterday's low, this order block, fair value gap. All right, so let's say we were bullish in this moment. we have a price have to come all the way back down here for me to feel like that's the case. But that's it's not a continuation, so I can't use it that way. Um, so let's go back down. Let's go to the 1 minute. All right, so 10 o'clock has come. The first fair value gap that formed at 10 o'clock. We had this one with nothing next to it. Order block. So if we had said, well, hold on. If it's a continuation and I'm going with it, with the logic that the first, we have this whole thing down here to dip into potentially. But we had a shift here. And that shift is what's making me feel like we should continue on up. I took those out and they kept going up, so did that work the way? They stopped at the halfway point. Fair value gap in here was already balanced to the left. Actually, I'm sorry, to the right. Still had something. Sometimes this is where I get. So what do we have? Fair value gap here. Where yesterday's low. Let's let another candle paint. So if we were, let's see here. So there's a small volume imbalance right there. So if we were going to go short, since that's the first one that formed, 8 ticks would have put us above that. And could we get 40 ticks below here? I mean, there's this whole thing to dig into, right? Some volume imbalance all the way up here. Okay, let's say it's short. Yeah, with London giving us the nod. Okay. So far we've moved 30 ticks. Okay. Let's see. For this price leg, if I'd wanted an entry, it hit almost hit 0.7. Okay, and if we're aiming for this, that's how many ticks right here? 57. All right. Now, there's also the potential for them to take this out and go that way because of the shift if they don't take this out. So we're short biased. So that was the thing that was bothering me. So seeing this behavior here and this shift back up, I would exit right here. Like once we made this higher low, then I would just exit and take my 20 something things. For this entire price leg, there and there, they're hanging out in this 0.8. There is this fair value gap that they hadn't done anything about and came back down into. Let's see if I'm wrong. Okay. Now, now let's scroll up here. Buy set all the way up here. So if we were, let's see if we can get out of this shop. Let's see. Look at this 5 minute because this is why this is no good. So if I was in some kind of profit here, I'd just take it out because I don't trust it. See, this is the kind of foolishness that happens when it's choppy like this. So I'll just get out because this is why I'm in drawdown. Okay, so let's move on to the afternoon of all of this. Chop chop. Let's go to 1 hour. Let's move on to the next. Oh, looks like that long would have eventually played out. Come back down, take that. So I was wondering, because the shift here felt so right, but London had dropped. I thought perhaps it was a continuation. Anyway, would have gotten out because too choppy. So let's go to the afternoon. Look at 2 o'clock. Let's look at the 15 minute. So what have we done? It's a lot of wicking in here. I like it very much. So that's done. Trade through. And so this bearish order block right here. Well, the 15 minute would have been where my eye would have been drawing to. The bottom of that. Okay. And there's just this small inefficiency right here, and we've already like tapped into this. There's nothing here, so yeah, I expected them to do something with that. So we had this tiny unclaimed fair value gap for a while. Unbalanced. It's definitely balanced now, right? Let's get on to the 5 minute. Okay, so 2 o'clock, what did we have? So we came into this. So in this space, we had this low and this just before 2 o'clock hadn't been touched. That order block up there. I guess they just wanted to run up to the order block, not once but twice. If I had been thinking about taking a short from here, 8 ticks would have saved me. And then be aiming for these equal lows right down there. Maybe take a tick or two. That would afford 45. And, that would have been one attempt. But after the 2 o'clock time frame, we had this nice shift. Took those out. Clear. Clear. Okay. So ignoring all of that, they've already tapped that bearish order block above. We now have this shift on the 5 minute. So I want to see, let's go in 1 minute, what do we have? So 2 o'clock was the first. That's after like a shift of some kind. So no shift there is the first opportunity at almost 3 o'clock. Proper shift, look to the left of this, all of that. So my expectation is for them to come up to here. So let's see if I were to take the short. Right. It's too far. Let's see, consequent encroachment of this. So if I were to take the short from here, what would my stop need to look like? So 8 ticks would just be right there. I would want it to be above it, so I'd have to move it up a little bit. I would have gotten filled right there. So let's see. And we're looking for 40 ticks minimum. Maybe I'll dig down. But with all the chop, I don't know. Let's see. All right. Let's see, I sell here. See how well I would be doing right now. An opportunity. Well, looks like I'm about to be stopped out. Digging into that. So coming so close to it, let me flatten. And let's look at the 5-minute again. So all of this, I should have been noting the order block. Maybe right here. Let's see. 1 minute. Oh, you know what? Shakira's being silly. There is a volume imbalance right here. So ignoring all of that, do we get up to here? Let's see. So with the volume imbalance, I could take, yeah, it's gonna drop right there. Yep, right. The volume imbalance is the draw. Okay. So my general expectation is taking this out. I want to see if we can get to 40 ticks. That would put us about this sell side underneath here, but it's a choppy day, so it's kind of hard. So far we've done not even 20 ticks yet. If I should have taken a look at this price leg, so point, the volume imbalance was right in there. So then from that leg, one standard deviation would be all the way down here. Definitely. Let's see. Let's let that play. Now I don't like the fact that it made a higher low here. Honestly, did we even get 20 ticks out of that? This is a very, very, not even 20 ticks, 19. 15-minute. I mean, okay, kitty, you coming? All right. So, with all this chop, I wouldn't even bother. It's not the right type of behavior for the day. Oh, there you go. Kitty time for you. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here for the moment and find myself some breakfast. But while I'm still sitting here, let's go take a look at what's happening now, and really quickly, and then let's check the calendar because it's Thursday, 8:30. We'll have some GDP, unemployment, so it should be some nice volatility there. Some pending home sales at 10. And yeah, so we'll see what we can get away with after 10 today. For the moment, what are we doing? So on the 1 hour, should I use the back testing for this one? Let's take that off and let's clear everything off because sometimes just want to look at it without any lipstick on there. Looks like prepping for an inside day, maybe trying to head for that high. Fair value gap up there to dig into. But relative equal lows. Well, lows and fair value gap down here to play with. So let's take a look at the 4-hour. Okay, we can take that off. Okay. So we've taken out these lows on the 24th. So that's pretty bearish, I think. So we have all of this, all that to mess with. We're going up. It's relative equal highs right here, 42.22. Let's look at the 1-hour. So they're holding things in consolidation right now, waiting for the news. So nothing to do. Yeah, look at that. No, no, thank you. I know touchy. All right. Say hi to Kitty. Ooh, there's Kitty's face. It's too close. All right, y'all be safe out here. Have an amazing day. I could not sleep. I was thinking about the charts way too much. And I wanted to start back testing. But have an amazing day, everybody. Be safe. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you feel like it. Shakira out.